Moonwalker Buzz Aldrin is fighting back against his children's claims that he is in cognitive decline, naming them in a lawsuit which includes accusations of elder exploitation, conspiracy and breach of fiduciary duty. Former astronaut and U.S. Air Force fighter pilot Aldrin, 88, became the second man to walk on the moon in 1969. Aldrin received honors including the Distinguished Flying Cross and Presidential Medal of Freedom. In retirement, Aldrin has spent his time advocating for space exploration and the idea of building human settlements on Mars, notably through the efforts of Buzz Aldrin Enterprises and nonprofit ShareSpace Foundation. Aldrin told the Wall Street Journal that two of three children, Andrew, 60, and Janice Aldrin, 51, had petitioned a Florida state court to appoint them as his co-guardians in May, giving them the power to control his finances and business dealings as well as make decisions on his behalf. According to Aldrin, their reasons for the legal request was based on his being in cognitive decline and experiencing paranoia and confusion. Court documents stated that Andrew and Janice believed their father was affiliating himself with people who seemed to be trying to manipulate him and asked that Aldrin submit to an examination of his competency by multiple court-appointed mental health specialists. Aldrin denied those claims and, on June 7, filed a lawsuit of his own in Florida, naming Andrew, Janice, and Buzz Aldrin Enterprises business manager Christina Corp as defendants. Aldrin's lawsuit accuses son Andrew and Corp of elder abuse, as well as converting his property for their own use and unjustly enriching themselves at his expense. Aldrin accused daughter Janice of conspiracy and breach of fiduciary duty. Share this article. Share Andrew, Janice, and Corp all hold high-ranking positions within Aldrin's private and non-profit companies. In the lawsuit, Aldrin accused Andrew and Corp of inappropriately using both his credit cards and money from his bank accounts. He also claimed that, during the last 2 years, they moved nearly $500,000 from his personal savings account to Buzz Aldrin Enterprises and ShareSpace Foundation accounts so they could use the money for their own purposes. Aldrin also accused them of having taken over control of his space-related memorabilia and artifacts, as well as his social media accounts and all elements of the Buzz Aldrin brand. Aldrin said that Andrew and Corp slandered him by saying that he has dementia and Alzheimer's and that all three of the defendants have sabotaged his romantic relationships and prevented him from remarrying, according to Florida Today. Aldrin had previously undergone a voluntary mental health examination by UCLA Medical School professor of psychiatry and biobehavioral sciences Drive, James Sparr. After the April evaluation, Sparr wrote in a report reviewed by WSJ that Aldrin is cognitively intact and retains all forms of decisional capacity. Aldrin said that he is scheduled for the new mental health examinations on June 26 and 27 and appears confident that he'll pass with flying colors. "Nobody is going to come close to thinking I should be under a guardianship," Aldrin told the WSJ. Aldrin's other son, James Michael, has stayed out of the fray and is not involved in either side of the legal disputes. Corp, initially hired as an executive secretary in 2007, began taking over his business in 2013, Aldrin said. She is now a director of ShareSpace Foundation and the VP of marketing at Buzz Aldrin Enterprises. In 2015, Aldrin's companies were incorporated. Aldrin, Andrew, and Janice as board members. Following a share transaction, Aldrin lost control of his company, receiving just one of its 3 votes. It was around the time that Aldrin said Andrew began to broadly interpret a position Aldrin had secured his son as a graduate assistant at the Florida Institute of Technology, where Aldrin was a research professor and faculty advisor. Part of that alleged broad interpretation meant that Andrew appointed himself the director of the institute, according to Aldrin. Aldrin said that Corp fired the agency he had been using to book speaking engagements at some point after 2013 to begin making those arrangements herself and, unbeknownst to Aldrin, was bagging a 5% commission on anything she booked. Aldrin's frustrations with the way his company was being handled reached a head in 2016 when he realized that he was being booked for events he didn't want to attend and being told to endorse products he wasn't interested in, such as Fabergé eggs and perfume. Perhaps more importantly, his foundation hadn't granted any scholarships, according to paperwork his lawyers had reviewed. Additional paperwork revealed that Aldrin had received a salary of $36,000 in reimbursement for expenses in 2017 from Buzz Aldrin Enterprises. Meanwhile, Andrew and Corp were each given $153,000 salaries and reimbursed for things like first-class flights. Aldrin's examples of how Andrew and Janice have been controlling his activities include taking away his passport and restricting him from his favorite pastime, scuba diving, in the wake of a collapse during a South Pole hike he said he was forced to go on during a fundraising trip for his foundation in 2016. Aldrin also said that, because Janice and Andrew control the board, he has been barred from firing Corp from the company. Andrew and Janice have issued a statement through their lawyers in response to their father's lawsuit. "We are deeply disappointed and saddened by the unjustified lawsuit that has been brought against us individually and against the foundation that we have built together as a family to carry on Dad's legacy for generations to come," the siblings said in the statement. "We love and respect our father very much and remain hopeful that we can rise above this situation and recover the strong relationship that built this foundation in the first place." Corp has not yet made any public statements but has retweeted Andrew and Janice's statement, as well as a statement from the Buzz Aldrin Space Foundation's spokesperson, appearing to confirm her continued employment with both the foundation and ShareSpace.